Hello there, very good evening to all our viewers. This is the news at 9, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outspoon.
And I'm Noriana Fernando. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
President's Media Division announces that the President has not agreed to name a Prime Ministerial candidate for the parliamentary elections. SLFP commences to interview candidates for the parliamentary elections. A revelation from former President Rajapaksa. Police says that Senior DIG Pujijaya Sundara had not made any statement at the National Executive Council regarding Vele Sudha and Duminda Silva. ICC informs Sri Lanka to hold SLC elections before October.
Addressing an event at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters today, President Maithripala Sirisena said that the primary objective of the new government should be to ensure the passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution within 100 days.
The event was organized to launch the official website of the Students' Front of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
I request from all the political parties contesting the upcoming general elections, the primary objective of the political parties that come into power after the elections should be to ensure the passage of the new election system in the new parliament. Consider this as a request from the people.
The President also elaborated on the policy of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
I believe that a new phase and policy is not instilled in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, which has been in power for 20 long years. And if the SLFP is heading into elections and fielding persons who have been criticized by the people, who have been found connected to fraud, corruption and the abuse of power, the people will not elect the Sri Lanka Freedom Party into power once again. If the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is to come into power, the people need to understand that honest persons are steering the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena presided over the 61st prize giving of the Ibagamo Central College today. The President distributed prizes and certificates to students who performed exceptionally well and also appreciated the services of 15 school teachers. In addition, the foundation stone for the construction of a 3-story building at the school at a cost of 15 million rupees was also laid today. The President did not forget to engage in a cordial discussion with the students. The President also caught up with one of his very own school teachers. On to stories that made it to the headlines this evening. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party today commenced interviewing candidates to field for the August parliamentary elections.
The interviews for candidates to be fielded for the August parliamentary polls under the Sri Lanka Freedom Party ticket commenced today at the SLFP headquarters located down Dalu Road, Colombo. Provincial councillors, Pradesh Sabha members and a number of new faces were called in for the interviews today. The interviews were conducted by SLFP seniors such as Dr. Sarath Amunugama, H.M. Fauzi, Ranjit Siambala Pitia, Mahindayapa Bewardana and Piyasena Gamage.
A number of that what we expected has requested for nominations under the SLFP ticket. We hope to field candidates free of corruption for the elections this time around.
We are hoping to increase female representation when providing nominations. We hope to raise the female representation to at least 25%.
Suitable persons will be selected. We hope to win this election and appoint a Prime Minister from our side and develop the nation under the rule of President Maithripala Sirisena. We see a number of new faces here. There are around 800 persons who are here to contest under the SLFP ticket. These candidates need to be well educated and should be able to render a great service to the public.
What we aspire for is to move forward as a people's organisation as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party under the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena together with former Presidents Mahinda Rajapaksa and Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga.
The party will take a decision and we are awaiting that decision. I believe so, even though there are not many from your side.
There are persons who will break the party and create issues. We request the president to think about the future of the party.
Back then, the entire hall would fill with candidates to face the interview. They wanted to contest for the party. However, today, there is not even 100 persons here.
I do not know if I will be given nominations or not. They say that they will increase the female representation. Let us see what would happen. I hope during this parliamentary election, the people will elect intelligent and clean youth to be represented in parliament.
තරුණ පිරිසිදු දේශපාලනඥයන් පිරිසක් තමන්ගේ නියෝජිතයන් විදිහට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යවයි කියලා.
The United People's Freedom Alliance says that discussions are afoot to form an alliance with minor parties.
The National Freedom Front has given their consent. The Jatik Hello Ramitu has sent us their consent. The National Samasamaja Party, the Communist Party, the MEP and other parties that have formed the alliance has sent us their consent to contest the general elections as an alliance. A committee has been appointed to hold discussions with the minor parties and minority parties. The committee is chaired by Dr. Sarat Amnugama. SP Dasanayaka is also a member of the committee. I too am a committee member. In addition, the committee comprises of Reginald Kure and Thilanga Sumadipala. We hope to conclude discussions with the Communist Party, the NSSP, Party of Dr. Vikram Bahu, the Party of Hizbullah, the MEP, the parties of Vasudevanana Kara and Somavan Samarasinghe by 8 p.m. tomorrow. The United National Party convened a press conference today. Speaking to reporters, Chief Minister of Uva Province Harin Fernando said that 60% of country continues to have faith in President Maithripala Sirisena.
Maithripala Sirisena mettuma janadipati nounot.
Was it not Maithripala Sirisena who said that if he did not become president, he would bury Mahinda Rajapaksa 6 feet under? However, President Maithripala Sirisena, if you think that you need Mahinda Rajapaksa, you need to be held accountable for the confusing situation that would have arisen back then. I also need to state this clearly. 60% of the country continues to have faith in Maithripala Sirisena.
The JVP today expressed its displeasure at holding discussions with persons who were rejected by the people.
During the period of 100 days, we not only filed complaints against small-time rogues, but also against the much larger rogues. As a party, we fulfilled a responsibility on that area. The government was vested with the responsibility of taking action on them. However, as the 100 days concluded, none of what the government mentioned were fulfilled. They said that a stop would be put to fraud and corruption. However, they too began to commit those acts and treated their relatives. The corrupt Rajapaksa regime was rejected by the people's mandate cast on the 8th of January. However, giving priority to the party, they are joining together with persons who were rejected for the elections. The nation and the people are placed at the second position. That is why they are having discussions with persons connected with fraud and rejected by the people.
Venerable Athuruliye Ratanathero says that although there is no issue with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa contesting the polls, there is a question of whom his group would comprise. The Venerable Thero made this statement at a press conference convened by the National Council for a Clean Tomorrow. He added that they are vigilant over the political ambitions of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
In
order to achieve policy-based victory, we defeated Mahinda Rajapaksa. We were not prepared to defeat Mahinda Rajapaksa. We wanted him to execute these amendments. Because we could not do that, we were compelled to defeat him. What is important here is not Mahinda Rajapaksa contesting the polls once again. If he is contesting together the persons connected to fraud and thievery, we cannot form an alliance.
කිසිම සම්දානගත වීමක් අපට කරන්න බෑ. මට ඒ ගැන දැනට කියන්න බෑ.
I cannot announce it now. The nomination solely depends on how we behave in society and within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. We are planning to continue in politics together with President Maithripala Sirisena, but we have not decided on that. We are also open to look at the United National Party.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ හැසිරීම ගැන අපට විවෘතයි.
Field Marshal Sarth Fonseca, leader of the Democratic Party, spoke at a party activist meeting in Kurunagala, where he said that a decision needs to be taken to evict corrupt politicians from political parties.
In order to build this country, you need to create political parties that are free from corrupt politicians. You need to clean the political parties. It is of no use to only make constitutional amendments. We wish to remind the President and the Prime Minister that they need to cleanse their parties. Then we are prepared to stand with them anywhere. However, today they are faced with a situation where they have to keep the rogues with them in order to protect the party. Will the country be swallowed by the ocean simply because the Sri Lanka Freedom Party loses the elections? What would happen if you lose and move the other side once in a while? The same goes for the United National Party. If they are to come to power, they must do so without the rogues. A media briefing was convened by the Movement for Unity with Power Sharing today.
There are issues among them that is irrelevant to us, but we do know that our President Maithripala Sirisena will not allow the team of thieves comprising of Vimal and Vasudeva, who went to the lowest means possible to win with no regards to any kind of decency, come back to power again. That was the expectation of the 6.2 million people who voted for him. The people weren't ignorant when they voted against the culture of thievery, corruption and murders. Apart from Chamal Rajapaksa, everyone else in the Rajapaksa family have court cases against them. Why do they have court cases against them? Was it because they did good to the country? Because they created corruption in the country, murdered people, abducted people? These are the charges against them. What are they doing now? Rather than doing what is supposed to be done in the temple, they are chanting slogans for Mahinda. This is by using the money that was stolen. There is one thing that is clear here. If the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is to be cleaned up, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Alibaba and his 40 thieves must be removed. Then Maithripala Sirisena can take a new and clean SLFP forward, which will save his reputation and the party.
Minister Sajid Premadasa says that the people of the country are working towards ensuring democracy by making the right decisions. The minister made this statement while speaking at an event in Udugalmote, Hambantota today.
The era in which rape and child harassment came into effect and politicians at divisional level were crowned for their crimes were ended, and the era which all those charged of rape were given the most severe punishment was started by us. Our country cannot backtrack, my dear friends. The decision lies in the vote of the people. Over the coming period, the people of this country will have two alternatives to choose from. One is state terrorism, cruelty and barbarism. The other is justice, safeguarding human rights and the distribution of benefits through development equally to everyone. When these two alternatives are presented to the people, I am certain that the people will make the right decision to ensure democracy in the country. Minister Sajid Premadasa donated building material to the Udugalmote Bodhi Rukkarama Purana Vihara in Hambantota today.
President Maithripala Sirisena today said that a broader national program has been planned to protect future generations from the drug menace. Speaking in Ibagamo today, President Sirisena said that a social dialogue is required to hand down capital punishment to persons engaged in the drug trade.
A broader national program is being formulated in order to eradicate, control and prevent the inflow of drugs. We hope to implement this program soon. This is a devastating situation. Last month, a girl named Vindhya was raped and murdered in the north of the country. Drug peddlers were behind that heinous act. At present, the law has given permission for the sale of arak, whiskey and brandy and many other things that destroy society. There is also drugs and intoxicant pills. In addition, the parents and teachers who are present here might have seen that recently the police had seized an intoxicant drink that was sold opposite schools to the students. We are aware that a barbaric society is amongst us. We cannot allow this. As a government, we will take all measures required to build a just, decent and disciplined society. We will impose and pass new regulations. The capital punishment is a law in the country. Persons sentenced to death are languishing in prisons. However, the capital punishment is not implemented in the country. Sometimes there is criticism that comes from society. Although I am disappointed as a Buddhist, we have focused our attention on implementing it in the future.
Postmaster General Rohan Aberatna says that the Department of Post does not have the expertise nor the methodology to detect illegal drugs that make their way into the country through mail. The Excise Department goes on to say that it has identified snail mail as a method used to bring drugs into the country.
On previous occasions, Newsfirst revealed the three major routes used to bring in drugs: the harbour, the airport and seas surrounding the country. A recent revelation brought to light details of yet another method undertaken by persons connected to the world of drugs to bring drugs into Sri Lanka. The information came to light with the arrest of 4 suspects, including an officer attached to the CID, over their involvement in the trade of a designer drug called ecstasy, known to be extremely expensive.
When these designer drugs are ordered through the internet, the actual name is not used. There are a variety of brands that are used. So these brands are used to order through the internet and they are sent through the mail.
Ecstasy has already taken over many parts of the world as a silent but deadly menace. Its effects and use have led to a war over control of distribution of this designer drug, which is now referred to as the ecstasy wars. This drug is most popular in Sri Lanka among the nightclubs and all-night beach parties. A single pill is sold at a price between 3,000 rupees and 6,000 rupees.
අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා යම් උපකරණ බහන්න ඇනුම් කිරීමේ පහසුව ලැබිලා තියෙනවා ඕනෑම කෙනෙකුට.
Certain goods and equipment are ordered through the internet. Anyone can do that. 3 years ago, around 6,000 goods ordered via the internet would pass through the Central Mail Exchange on a monthly basis. However, today in one single month, over 80,000 goods pass through the Central Mail Exchange. Most of these goods are ordered through eBay and are small in size. These parcels do not come through registered post. We do not have the facilities to track or identify them. Medicine is also ordered in such a manner. We can only detect them if we check for the name of the medicine that is indicated. Our officers do not have the expertise to check whether it is this specific medicine which is in the container or if it is some other drug. We do not have a methodology to inspect such items.
Ecstasy is classified as a hallucinogen due to its chemical makeup and can damage the nerve and brain cells. Doctors believe that the effects of the use of ecstasy cannot be reversed.
Drug problem is a national issue. It couldn't be controlled without the support of people, especially the government servants. Narcotics are coming to the country by force for many years. This is not the first time it is detected. But our postal department still fails to get effective measurements to control it. But there are few things you can do to minimize postal trafficking of drugs. One is getting a scan machine. The second one is train the staff to trace the suspicious packages with drugs. Actually, it is a brain skill development. NDDCB can do it. We have all the resources. But unfortunately, Postal Department didn't make any request so far for such assistance. As you know, government servants are a special group of this society. To make this country a developed one, they should be innovative and should come up with new thoughts and plans. They should not wait until politicians, not past O-level even, give the directions for how to serve the country. It's a very pathetic situation. The eradication of drug menace of the country should be done by His Excellency the President, Prime Minister or NDDCB themselves. It's a teamwork. Every government servant and public should not wait until the media or someone finger points you for any issue. Attitude changes of the country is must to make this country a wonderland. So we all get together to eradicate this problem from the country.
Police headquarters today announced that the investigations by the Criminal Investigations Department on former MP Duminda Silva are yet to conclude. Issuing a communique, police headquarters notes that investigations over Duminda Silva are continuing. Meanwhile, police headquarters also emphasized that senior DIG Pujit Jaisundara has not made any revelation to the National Executive Council regarding the investigation on Duminda Silva and the individual known as Vele Sudha.
A drug-free nation leads to a drug-free parliament. Think before you vote.
Well, we have seen politicians expressing their views over the general elections. But what about the most important sector of a country during an election, which is the general public? Newsfirst gave an opportunity to the people to express their views on what is needed and what is not. We will cast our vote to a person who can render a service to the country. He should be well educated, honest and skilled. We will think twice when we cast our votes.
I hope that a national government will be formed. There are leaders amongst the youth who are capable of doing something for the country. If we can elect such persons, then we can take this country forward.
We should give nominations to a generation who has a plan in place to take the country forward and who will fulfill the promises made by this good governance. Now that they dissolve parliament, they should appoint the right persons. They are jumping from one side to another. It does not matter who it is. We just do not want ethanol and drug dealers. Politics within the party does not matter to us anymore. As the fishing community in the Chilau area, we need a decent representative in parliament who is educated and can do something for the country. We will not vote for such persons. We will only cast our vote to good politicians and who are educated.
People in several areas placed their signatures on the March 12th declaration today as well. The declaration includes guidelines that political parties need to consider when handing over nominations.
The national program, launched to obtain 1 million signatures for the March 12th declaration for clean politics, commenced its journey today from the town of Kalmunai.
Those contesting the upcoming elections should be those who can respect the people. Do not elect the abusers, drug users and wrongdoers. The leaders are supposed to work for the people, but they are involved in drugs and thievery. They do not respect the people.
The people of Ampara also placed their signatures on the March 12th declaration today.
We urge that persons who can dedicate themselves for the people be fielded. We request everyone not to elect thugs and those who are corrupt into this important parliament. Do not field any of the rogues, thugs, smugglers, ethanol dealers and rapists. Former Northwestern Provincial Councillor Ananda Sarath Kumar, who was handed a suspended prison sentence of 2 years rigorous imprisonment for making a school teacher kneel, has made a request for nominations to contest the parliamentary polls.
Ananda Sarath Kumar, who arrived at the SLFP headquarters in Colombo today, faced an interview to obtain his nomination.
I gave an example. I resigned from my post and faced the situation. So I think that justice will be meted out to me by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Really, justice should be fulfilled.
On the 12th of May 2014, former Northwestern Provincial Councillor Ananda Sarath Kumar was sentenced to 2 years rigorous imprisonment, suspended for 7 years for making a school teacher kneel. The incident where the former councillor had made a disciplined teacher from the Navagatte Gamannavodaya school kneel was reported on the 14th of June 2013.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended a religious event in Pujapitiya, Kandy today.
It was said in Parliament that the Minister of Finance had issued 28 licenses for ethanol and spirits. 28 licenses in 100 days. If they remain for a few more days, what else would have happened? Ethanol is being imported. Who is the one who brought it? The son-in-law of the governor of the central bank is the one who did the deal. This person was specially placed in the central bank. There was influence to dissolve Parliament before the COPE report was made public. Now no one knows what happened to that COPE report.
It has been reported that there is a shortage of essential goods in Satata outlets. Reporters add that this situation has inconvenienced many consumers.
The government's objective to provide relief to the consumers by maintaining a reasonable price on essential goods in Satasa. The government established this initiative across 305 Satasa outlets island-wide and took measures to sell goods at prices lesser than the market. However, this is the situation in Satasa today. Vehicles used to transport goods in Satosa are currently parked at the Satosa head office premises. Rishad Baduddin, the Minister of Industry and Commerce, speaking at a press conference on the 24th, said that a situation has arisen where Satosa cannot be operated. He pointed out that Satosa owed 10 billion rupees to banks and another 3 billion rupees to suppliers. He added that a private firm have invested with the task of restructuring Satosa in this backdrop.
The task of Minister Rishad Baduddin should not be to rent out or sell Satosa to his friends and associates. He can hold a discussion with the Minister of Finance and look into losses, rectify them and continue to the operations of Satosa. Satosa is an institution that protects the rights of the country's masses and provides goods to consumers at a reduced price. In the past, a huge effort was made to destroy Satosa. Now, if the ministers of this government are trying to do the same, we emphasize the fact that this needs to be halted immediately. They are highlighting the problem of not being able to continue the operations of Satosa due to the inability of paying salaries. But what they are really trying to do is to sell Satosa.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga arrived at St. Bridget's Convent this morning.
A special Holy Mass was organized at the premises of St. Bridget's Convent to mark the 70th birthday of the former president. The Holy Mass was conducted by His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
Fathers, brothers and sisters.
You fulfilled your responsibility towards society. Call Mathura Hambantota, who is the best U reporter. Newsfirst U Report Regional Convention, Southern Province, on the 5th of July at the Mathura Cooperative Society Hall at 8:30 AM. For more details, call us on 0114 896 896.
What were those things that got out of hand?
Well, I think corruption increased.
What has happened to the investigation on La Santa, as far as you know?
I have no idea.
Who think Nelly got out?
I have no idea.
Welcome back to the news. Still on local news, the ceremonial opening of the new basketball court of Gateway College took place yesterday.
The basketball court was declared open by Rohini Alas, the wife and founder of Gateway College, late R.I.T. Alas.
Children have to make the maximum use of it. But if it's going to benefit the country, if the national team wishes to use our facilities, yes, they could, at no charge. Because Sri Lanka deserves, at least the Sri Lankan sportsmen and women deserve, I think, more facilities than what the country offers now. What we would like to see is national schools, private schools and international schools working together, producing the best for the country so that we together perform at the highest level.
The court is laid with a rubberized surface with air cushioning to avoid injuries to players. Incidentally, this is the first of its kind in Sri Lanka.
An event was held at St. Thomas's Catholic International School in Sidua yesterday under the auspices of His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit declared open the St. Matthew building of the school, which was constructed to mark the 40th priestly ordination of His Eminence. Thereafter, the school's cricket pitch was blessed and declared open by His Eminence.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a big round of applause.
The school's newly constructed swimming pool was also declared open after being blessed by His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
We reached the decided still waters.
Starting off with some cricket news this evening, issuing a media release, Sri Lanka Cricket says that national selectors have included Upul Tharanga into the squad for the third and final test against Pakistan to be played in Pallekele International Cricket Stadium, Kandy. According to SLC, Tharanga comes in as a replacement to Kumar Sangakkara, who will not be available for selection for the final test match. The third and final test starts on Friday, the 3rd of July, where the series tied 1-1.
In some sports news that made headlines, the International Cricket Council has informed Sri Lanka that the cricket elections will be held before October next year. The chairman of the Intergovernment Committee, Siddharth Vettamuni, gave an explanation in this regard at a media briefing held at cricket headquarters.
The media briefing was held with the participation of the chairman of the SLC Interim Committee, Siddharth Vettamuni, Secretary Prakash Shafter, and Chief Executive Officer Ashley De Silva. I received a letter from David Richardson. He is referring to what we had discussed. They prefer for an election before October. They are having a meeting in October. The next meeting after that would be on the 26th of January.
January 26th.
Journalists question whether there is an influence from the Board of Control for Cricket in India or BCCI when handing over rights to broadcast international matches of the Sri Lanka cricket team. No, other cricket boards cannot interfere. We are continuing negotiations. I think we will be able to take a decision this week.
Well, that's all the news we have for you on today's edition of Primetime News. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Noriana Fernandez for News First.
And I'm Joel Outsgood. Have yourself a wonderful day ahead. Take care. Good night.